So right now we are going to rebuild this foreign exchange gain and loss calculation template from the scratch. We have 3 steps, but before that, let's open a blank Excel workbook. We have renamed these 2 worksheets and formatted 2 tables accordingly. You can do so if you want to beforehand. So step number 1 is to extract the exchange rates from Mars website. Let's go to your browser, search for Mars foreign currency. Go to this website, e-services, Exchange Rates Monetary Authority of Singapore. Make sure you are select these exchange rates. Start year, let's go to 2021. Month will be January. Frequency, let's change it to monthly. End year will be current, that will be 2023 April. For the currency selection, I will just stick to this automatic selection, which will be Euro, Pound, US dollar. If you would like to select other currency, take note that that will be 100 units and you will probably need to divide it by 100 to get the per unit rate instead. So once the selection is done, click on download. It will download a CSV file for you. Open the Excel in CSV format. We are going to copy this data into our blank Excel workbook just now. So let's do the checking first. Go move your cursor on top so that you can select all the data. Move your cursor until here. Double click on it so that it expands the selection. I will adjust accordingly. So I can see that this is Euro, Pound, US dollar. And the period will be 2021, January up until March 2023. So basically these selections are all correct. So move your cursor again up until here to select all the data. Click Ctrl C to copy all the data. Back to your blank workbook just now. Select master data. Click on A1 and Ctrl V so that you can paste all the data. Double check again. You have pasted all the data that you need. So this is the end of step 1. Step 2 is to rearrange the exchange rate from master data into our table here in forex template. We have 4 columns in our table here in forex template. The first one is date and the rest are euros, pound and USD dollar. Do take note that our date format will be rearranged as the first day of each month of that particular year. Let's get back to our master data to examine all the data. It seems like the date format over here does not follow the pattern that we want. We do expect some formulas to be done to convert it into the format that we want. As for the currency, it seems pretty straightforward. We can just copy the whole thing and paste it in the table first. Once done the selection, you can click Ctrl C to copy all the data. Get back to our forex template and paste it accordingly. Just click on Ctrl V and you can see that you have pasted all the selection. Now we are going to select for the date so that we can do some conversion. As usual, Ctrl C. Instead of Ctrl V over here, we are going to paste it over here instead. We are going to introduce a formula so that we can rearrange the date format to be something like this instead of this. So the formula will be equal to, in bracket, 1 and sign, click on L5, another and sign, click on 2021, close the bracket, plus 0, and click enter. And you can see that this is the format that we want. So we can try to pull it down, the formula, move your cursor until at the right end, right bottom of this cell, and pull it down until December of 2021. But somehow the formula has gone wrong because it returned 2023 instead. So we know that we have to lock this 2021 instead. So how do we lock this period? We click on, if you are working using laptop, click on Fn plus F4 and you will see this dollar sign, or you can just click on Shift and number 4 for twice to introduce two currency symbol. Once done, click on enter and let's pull the formula again, and you can see that it returns to the format that we want. We try to pull it down for one more step. So now we are in 2022, but it still returned 2021. We know that our formula has something wrong. So we can see that we have to pull this K5 to 2021 so that it locate K17 instead. So click on enter. Once you have done the selection, the adjustment, you can see that it returned to 2022. Seems a good one. Let's pull it down up until December. It seems pretty good. Let's move on to 2023, and it's the same thing. We have to do the adjustment over here. You can see that it returns on the year 2022. We don't want that. We put it until you see K29. All right, it looks good. And then we put it down for the one last time, and you can see that we have able to return to rearrange the date format. So let's select all the date, Ctrl C, and let's paste it as value over here in the table. Right click on the empty space, select this paste as value so that we paste it as value instead of the formula. So do the double checking again. It seems good. Everything is alright. And then we can delete the whole thing over here. So this is the end of step 2. So step 3 is to build a formula for our calculation template. I have already filled in the information based on our previous example, such as the invoice date, currency, invoice amount, and the payment rate. You can do so that to facilitate the process afterwards. Next, we are going to fill in the formula for these highlighted entries in yellow. Now we are going to focus on how to build formula to calculate or to locate the rate used to take in the invoice. We are going to use index and match function in this case because we have two criteria. These index and match functions basically work like VLOOKUP function. VLOOKUP function only allows us to locate the information based on one criteria. And in this case, we have two. So we have no choice but to only use index and match function. So let's take a deeper look on how index function works. It has three portions. The first one will be reference. Basically, it means that where is the data we are going to refer to. And in this case, we are going to refer to the data in this exchange rate table. The second portion is row number. So row number, we are going to observe in this table, what does row number tell us? So we can see that the row number will tell us what is the date. So we are going to use match function to locate the date in our row number. The third portion of an index function is column number. So let's jump back in our table here. What does column number tells us? It tells us what is the currency. What is the currency? So we will use again the match function to locate currency in our column number function. So we are going to break down in three parts. We are going to build this formula in three parts, step by step. And right now we are going to build it for row number using match function. So let's input equal to match in bracket lookup value. This is our first portion. So we know that we are going to locate the date in our lookup value. So in this case, we are going to look up here this date as our first criteria. So let's put a comma. The second portion in this match function is lookup array. Lookup array tells us where is your lookup area. So for us to look up the date in this table, is basically means this area. So we are going to drag the area start from January 1st all the way down until the bottom of your last set of data. So this means that this is the area we are going to look up to locate our date, our first criteria. Once done, insert another comma. So the last portion of this formula is match type. We are going to look for an exact match. So I'm going to select 0 and done. So let's input one last bracket and click enter, and let's see what happens. So it returns a value 27. So basically it means in order to locate where is this date located in this area, it means that it locates in position number 27. We can do the double checking. So I have selected all the data in this table, and we know that they have 27 entries, and you can see that we are going to locate for this March 1st, 2023, and it happens to be in the last position, and which is 27. So this return value is the correct one, and which means our formula is right. So we have settled one portion in our index formula. Now we are move on to our third portion, which is to locate the currency in our column number. We are basically doing the same thing, just that we are trying to locate currency right now. So the same thing, equal sign, match in bracket. So where is our lookup value? We know we are going to locate the currency. So we have to select this H7, a comma. So next portion will be lookup array, which means where is our lookup area. And in this case, that will be our column over here. We'll drag the information from date all until the end of when you reach the USD. And you can see that because this is a table function, so it will return forex table headers. And this is correct. Next, we input the comma. And the same thing, we are going to return the exact match, and we will select 0 and close bracket, click enter, and let's see, it returns value number 4. Basically, it tells us that while we are locating for USD currency in our column here, the USD locates at position number 4 in this column. So we have settled two portions in our index formula. While we are working on the last portion of finalizing our formula, what I'm going to do is to open up a blank notepad so that I can copy this formula in somewhere else to facilitate the completing the final formula. So what I'm going to do is select the formula and then highlight it in formula bar here. Click Ctrl C and then click Enter. Open up your notepad and Ctrl V to paste it over here. I'm doing the same thing so that I can copy and paste this column number formula into notepad. Going to the formula bar, highlighting the whole formula, Ctrl C, click Enter, get back to our notepad, click Enter, and then Ctrl V. Okay, this look good. So now we are going to finalize our formula for locating the rate used to take in the invoice. And I'm going to do it over here. So in order to do so, input equal to type index in bracket. So this is the last portion for us to work on. And this will be the reference, which means we have to locate the data in our exchange rate table over here. So we are going to drag all the data from January 1st, 2021 all the way down until it reached the last row of data. So this is our reference. Put a comma. Then open our notepad to input our first row number match function. We only have to copy up until match until the end. We are going to exclude, not going to include these equal signs. So once selecting is done, Ctrl C and then get back to our formula bar in this Excel and Ctrl V. Looks good. Click comma. Open our notepad again. Copy the next formula. Only match until the end. Ctrl C. Get back to our formula bar. Ctrl V. Looks good. And then we input the last bracket and click enter. It shall return the rate. And to double confirm if this is the correct rate used, we can do the checking on our own. So we are going to locate the USD, which is this column, and the date will be March 1st, 2023. We scroll it down, we can see that yes, the rate will be 1.327 and this is the correct one. So we have settled this formula. We are going to moving on to another less complicated formula. So in order to calculate the amount in SGD equivalents, it will be very simple. Equal to invoice amount times together with payment rate. And it will return 1,310 Singapore dollar. And it works the same for the below formula, equal to invoice amount times together with the input rate, and we will get a 1,327 Singapore dollar. So in order to calculate the gain or loss, we will follow this same working over here. We are going to take the difference between the payment rate and input rate first. So let's input equal to, in bracket, payment rate minus input rate, close bracket, star sign to times together with the original invoice amount. Click enter and we will get the $17. Oh, in this case, just so that we are going to tally with the rate on the day, the payment rate, I'm going to change it to 1.33. Okay, so that the amount gain and loss we are going to get is $3, which is the same as the previous example. So right now we are going to see if this $3 is a gain or loss. We will set a formula using if formula. Equal to if, in bracket, this cell H14 is less than 0, we will get a gain. If it is not, we will get a loss. Close bracket. So the theory behind this if formula is, we know in theory, in logical way, as long as the payment rate is greater than the input rate, we will have to pay in excess. So in this case, we pay in $3 excess, which means we incur a forex loss. So the theory behind this if formula is, as long as the sell, this amount is less than 0, we will get a forex gain. If it is not, if it is greater than 0, which in this case is $3 is greater than 0, we are going to get a loss. So for example, for another test drive, if let's say our payment rate is lower than the input rate, let me put it as 1.31, we will get a forex gain of $17. So basically, this is how we can build a foreign exchange gain and loss from the scratch, the calculation template from the scratch.